Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Crazy Hat Day and Strength Agenda Radio, episode 20. My name is Tom. I am way more caffeinated, and this is where is that? Is that coffee or is that orange juice?
Dude, it's Metamucil.
Whew. So what you're saying is we are on the clock now for this this podcast. That is John over there who is making sure that he is taking care of his gut health appropriately,
Hell yeah.
like a responsible senior citizen should be doing. You're bold. You're bold doing that during the day. I do it at night. I do in the morning.
Really?
So
Dude,
yeah.
you're bold doing it at night. What if you shit
No,
your bed?
I mean you go to the bathroom before you go to bed, and
Buddy,
I
it's
also
not like
I
I'm
also don't.
drinking this and I'm like
It's
suddenly
also
just
it's also it's also sweet that you think that I sleep the appropriate amount of hours that an adult is supposed to sleep. Like when you only sleep like 4, 5, 6 hours a night, like you got nothing to worry about.
it's funny that you think like I'm far away from my bathroom or something where I'm just gonna be like, oh, bring every time.
It's just like I said, it's my
Hold
nighttime.
on though. I do want to point out, right? Like, so the first time that we existed in a house together, like I walk into the bathroom and while Tom is making fun of my Metamucil right here, he had a container
I
that
did.
was this big
It
sitting
was
on
my,
the
it
counter.
was my nighttime shake. It was like I said, it's a scoop of casein protein. Shout out Legion. It's Metamucil and then some creatine. Like that is my nighttime.
You make that all together?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Really?
It's gross. Like I mean, it's not gross. It's like a coarse orange dreamsicle.
That
So
sounds gross.
it's a little gross. I'm
That
not gonna
sounds gross. I'm not gonna lie.
I like it just, but like, you know what? Uh, I think Matt Vincent is the one that told me like way back in the day, he was like, if you want to be number one, make sure your number twos are in order. And you know what? Ever since then, I have been a big proponent of Metamucil. I don't like Benefiber. Benefiber does not make me feel good. I think it's just because like I found this out, I actually Googled it because I was trying to figure it out. Benefiber is made with a processed fermented wheat germ
Oh, really?
and
Oh, okay.
I don't have celiac. I don't have any sort of gluten intolerance or anything along those
Right.
lines. But like it just I don't feel like I actually feel worse like on when I do Benefiber versus like the straight up coarse Metamucil, like the psyllium husk. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm trying to watch my shapely figure. I do the sugar free. But yeah, don't you laugh at me. God damn it. Listen, we've
Okay.
had more days here in Colorado above 50 degrees than we've had days of snow.
Really?
So like it is beach season year round. Like you know how much fishing I have done this winter?
But it's -6 right now.
No, it's snowing right now. I didn't even look at the weather yet because I ain't got to leave yet.
Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. I'm just curious because, we're going to check the wind chill as
Oh,
well. Oh, hey, look. It feels like -19, but the actual is
you got me.
-6.
It's 12 degrees here right now, and it feels like -1.
We are 24 degrees below the average.
Nice, nice.
Yeah. So that's awesome. We got that going for us.
You do have that going for you.
Got that going for us.
You're gonna do some dumbbell shrugs with that hoodie there, buddy.
I am, buddy. I love this hoodie, man.
I
It's
do, I do
oversized.
like I do like some of their stuff. Like it's the same thing. Like I had a friend of mine, Stacy, got me hooked on Fabletics, and
Love Fabletics, dude.
absolutely love Fabletics.
Yep.
The big thing I liked about them over companies like Lulu and other ones is their men's shirt sizes actually are what they say they are.
Yes,
First,
they are.
I'm a rant here for a minute. If you are a fucking athletic apparel company and you say something is a goddamn 3XL and then I go to put it on and I need to Crisco my abs to get into the damn shirt, it is not a 3XL. Screw you and whoever measured that shit out, go find a normal person that wears a 3XL. Like 3XLs are baggy on me. I get them because of the shoulders and the arms. That's
Yeah, yeah,
most
for sure.
comfortable because I get 2XL, it just starts to rub and cut in here. And I just don't like that. And I can make 2XLs work, but 3XLs is where I'm comfy. I don't wear it because of any other reason except for the shoulders and like the upper back like room that I need. But God, nothing drives me more nuts when you spend money on a shirt and they're like, it's a 3XL. Here's the sizing chart. And I'm one of those nerds that I will sit there with the tape measure. I don't just be like, man, 3X is good. I legitimately sit there and measure myself out. And I'm like, yep, this is what I should order. And then when I get it and it doesn't fit, oh my God, nothing drives me more nuts.
Here's what I like about Fabletics. So I'm gonna say this about Gymshark really quick because I bought some of their stuff and it was like, okay, they have like oversized stuff, which is really comfortable,
Yes.
like super comfortable. And so I've been on this like I just want to be comfortable in what I wear kick. And I bought some oversized shirts and some oversized hoodies from them. And I will say this, they fucked up two orders back to back. And then we're like, oh, well, it turns out that wasn't in stock. And they don't let you know that
Yep.
it's not in stock. They just ship you the one thing that is in stock. And then you have to reach out to their customer service to ask where the rest of your shit is. And then they tell you, oh, it's not in stock. We don't know when it'll be in stock again, but we'd be happy to give you a credit. And I'm like, fuck your credit.
Yeah.
I don't want your credit. What I wanted was communication and you to say, hey, I'm really sorry. So here's a little customer service tip for anybody out there that has to deal with like customers.
John
Be
Brand.
proactive in your shit. Like, don't wait. If you know that something is out of stock, don't wait for somebody to reach out to you and be like, hey, this is like, I didn't get this. And then be like, oh, yeah, we're sorry. It's out of stock. Like, reach out to them before you ship it and say, hey, we're sorry. We're preparing your order, but it looks like only one thing is available. What would you like us to do? Oh, hey, great. I'll never buy from Gymshark again. Just so you know, Gymshark, you lost a customer because of that. But
I'm
Fabletics,
I think that's what happened with this shirt that I ordered. Like, because
yeah,
the package says 3XL, but like I am tell like I'll go put it on and send you a picture of it. Like it
sweet.
it is not a 3XL. Like,
Well, and that's one of the like, if you look at like online reviews, that's something that they've started getting dinged on was like the sizing isn't 100% accurate. But to Fabletics credit, and I guess Kevin Hart and his team, because that's a Kevin Hart brand.
yeah, that's his.
Um, yeah, dude. My biggest issue with t-shirts is buying a large, running it through the wash a couple times, and then all of a sudden it becomes a medium.
Bingo.
But Fabletics
They
fits
pre-wash
the
it.
they're
You know why? I remember like reading a thing of they pre-wash their stuff.
That makes so much sense because my Fabletics t-shirts, every single one fits exactly the same as it did when I took it out of the bag.
Yeah.
Every single
I
one.
I have one of their like sport tees or whatever. It's the black one with like the old like they did like an old school type logo
Yeah.
on it,
Yep.
whatever. And it's one of my favorite shirts. I wear it all the time. It's super comfy, super soft. Yeah, and I've got like 6 or 7 pairs of their shorts. The shorts are really nice.
Shorts are
I've got
phenomenal,
I've
dude. I
got
love
three
their
pairs of
shorts.
their joggers.
Yep. I got some joggers.
I've got some big calves, and like their joggers are great. Um, love Fab Athletics, Gymshark, go get bent.
Eat a bag of
Um,
dicks.
yeah, do that too. I'll send you the bag of gummies. So today, up,
Now that we've gone on our fashion rant for the day,
yeah, that the people you need to be taking fashion advice from is this guy wearing
look
this.
at us.
Yeah, this is, anyways. John said to wear a different hat, so I wore a different hat. This is my Highland Games hat that I wear during the competitions because it keeps the sun out of my face.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Ooh, that's smart.
yeah. Yeah. Anyways, so we got the app going. Folks that are using the app getting great reviews. Appreciate all you guys that are supporting the app. We got the apparel. If you've not seen the latest shirt, I got to make a post about it. Tats and Lats is up there. If you are looking for just to add another piece of apparel to your
Ooh,
wardrobe, get yourself some of that. We're talking about like the sizing and stuff like that. I can promise you right now, the sizing on our store site is on point.
yes.
3XL, and the shirts all fit me the way I want my 3XL t-shirts to fit me. I'm also honestly because of John, is I'm starting to become a fan of oversize.
Yeah.
And that like being a bigger dude, that's kind of weird to say. I also think it's just an age thing. Like, like when you're younger, like you like the cutoffs and you like the like less clothing. Nah, man, like I like the baggier fit clothes and stuff like
Hmm.
that. And being a 3XL, it's hard to get baggier because
Dude, I
like
bet.
otherwise you got to go to like tarps and boat
Yeah.
covers and stuff like that. But like if you can get
The
like
moo
the from the like the Simpsons, oh my God, I'm gonna get a moo and I'm gonna go
And
deadlift.
you got to get the white like golfer hat too.
No, I'm gonna wear this hat with a moo
Oh,
and then
there you go.
I'm gonna go deadlift at the gym wearing a moo.
Do it.
But anyways, but just appreciate all you guys' support and stuff like that. But we are starting to get into the competition mode here, coming up.
Mm,
CrossFit has the Open coming up. World Fitness Project, I believe, just finished up their finals tour.
Yeah, and they're getting ready to do their
That's
qualifier as well.
They got their qualifiers coming up. Wadapalooza, which is like a really big, like the big like CrossFit event that's coming up here in a few weeks, if not this weekend.
Yeah, it
Uh,
might be this week. Holy shit.
weightlifting wise, we got the Arnold coming up here in
Yeah.
about 6 or 7 weeks out from the Arnold. Our masters athletes are going to be starting their run, a few weeks after that. We've got the Illinois State meet coming up at the end of April. Just competitions galore. And then, we got the Highland Games. The Strongman is never really in an off season. The Arnold's going to be the first really big competition, but I got a couple folks competing at some events here in the next few
Mhm.
weeks. And then the Highland Game season really is right around the corner here in March, April for a lot of AMs and stuff like that, or some of the other pros and things. So we wanted to take this time, John. You brought this up, and I was like, hell yeah, we need to talk about this. Is competition. And what in particular we wanted to talk about is the downtime for a
Yeah.
competition. And we want to make sure that we are very clear about this. Like this is not like the end all be all. But in John's and my experience here, we work with a variety of different sports. Me in particular, like Highland Games, strongman, weightlifting. Those are my three main things that I work on. But I do have experience through the CrossFit community and High Rocks through my grid stuff. You obviously have coached like in your Gold's gym. You've worked with, you work with weightlifters as well, and you've got a more extensive experience with the CrossFit and the Open and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we kind of, correct me if I'm wrong here. What we want to talk to you all about today is like in terms of competition and in terms of how to handle the variety of the competitions across the different sports, how to prepare, what you need to do in terms of giving yourself the appropriate downtime, rest, recovery, not necessarily off season, so to speak. We
Yeah.
talked
Yeah.
about off season stuff.
We did
We're
off
talking
season stuff.
about like between the competitions, like what do you do to get yourself, ready for the next one with the time parameters that we've got going on. So I'll let you kick it off, John, with you'll pick your first sport and then we'll just kind of talk through it. We'll take three. Like we'll do you pick a sport, I'll take the weightlifting, and then if we've got time here, we'll do a third. But like I feel like
Yeah.
we'll cover the two main bases here in these first two.
Yeah, especially with the Open coming up, I want to talk about like
Yeah,
CrossFit,
absolutely.
right?
Are you
And
signed up?
because
Are you going to do it?
no, I still got to get my shoulder worked out.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I know we're for grid, a lot of CrossFitters and stuff like that. I've been asked, and I don't know. I just don't think I'm going to give CrossFit my money. Won't do it. But out of solidarity, I will probably do at least the scaled version because I'm still coming back from like the Achilles and
Yeah.
stuff like that. I can't do any jumping. Really, that's my concern. And I feel like the open is when you see a shitload of box jumps and burpees. Um,
Yeah,
I
tons.
have all the equipment to do. The only thing I don't have is an assault bike, but we have air bikes at Lifetime that I can use in a pinch. And I know I can call it CrossFit or something like that and drop it if I need to. But like I
Yeah.
think out of solidarity, because I follow our affiliate program and the conditioning and stuff like that. And I'll probably do it out of solidarity for all my grid folks and stuff like that. But I'll probably be doing the scaled version because I am a scaled athlete when it comes to CrossFit.
But
Um,
yeah, and that's I think my shoulder I'll at least be able to start doing scaled stuff by then.
yeah,
Um, so I'll do the workouts, but I'm not going to sign up for the Open this
right.
year. I will say like there seems to be a renewed interest in the Open, which is great because I do believe in the methodology. I think CrossFit took a weird hit over the last like several years because of the chaos of like selling, then selling again, and the whole Glassman thing. And but like I want to throw this out there really quick. Like, don't let what's happening with a business at a level that like you're never going to touch,
Yeah,
like take away from the fact that as a methodology, it's good for people.
yeah, 100%.
Right. And it's not perfect. I want to acknowledge like it's not perfect. We've talked about like where it's missing at times, but if you're looking to get in and like you just like the culture and the motivation and like the community that you can find within the gyms, especially the good ones with like good coaching, that have really made it a point to like understand how people move and are really focused on making sure people move safely and not just letting them go like ham. It's a great methodology. It's Orange Theory, F45, like all of those things. Anyway, um, the Open is like the beginning of the big CrossFit season. Now, CrossFit obviously has like local competitions throughout the year that everybody likes to do. they're running around. But I want to talk specifically about the open and
Yeah,
for people who,
it's a unique format.
yeah. And so it used to be 4 weeks long. Actually, I think it used to be five.
Yeah,
Yeah, it used to be 5 weeks. So you had one workout every week for 5 weeks, and people show up, get judged, do the whole thing, and then, wait a week, do it again, wait a week, do it again, wait a week, do it again. Where it's interesting is when people sign up for the open, is what happens during the week in between those workouts,
yeah,
right? Because you have people who go all out in those workouts and then show up like the next day to do the workout at the affiliate and then go all out again. And then by the end of 5 weeks, like their performance has dramatically tapered off. Like they're not feeling very good. They feel pretty wrecked and trashed out. And they're like, oh, it's just the open. But it's not just the open. It's what you're doing in between those open workouts,
right.
right? That's leaving you feeling that way.
Yeah,
And so if, Chris Spieler, it was either Chris Spieler or Ben Bergeron. I think it was Spieler years ago in a podcast. And I love Spieler, man. I think Spieler's a really smart guy. I think if you don't
yeah,
like listen to that guy sometimes, you should. But he talked about, how many times a week you should go full out in a
yeah.
workout. And it's not many,
Nope.
especially as you're kind of aging and then especially as you're doing the open. Because if you want to be able to give 80% in the open workout,
100%. Yeah, yeah,
like throughout the week, you should be capping and it should be kind of like, okay, well, this is a recovery week. So I'm
exactly.
going to do like 50, 60% throughout the
Mhm.
week. So I have
Yeah,
the energy reserves, the recovery, right? The lactic acid like pushed out of my body because you're going to have it. My central nervous system gets an opportunity to calm down. And you don't want to go every single day.
exactly.
That is the one thing that I think CrossFit affiliate owners don't talk about enough within their gyms because they're afraid that if they have these conversations, people are going to stop coming to the gym.
Yeah,
But it's telling people you shouldn't be here every single day.
no, no, especially during the open. Because
Yeah,
like
especially during the open.
because for some people the intensity percentage of those workouts you are going to be probably for most folk, and I'm talking just general population, people
Yeah.
going in there and stuff like that, the people who are doing those workouts and showing up for the Friday night lights or whatever the thing is, like that is probably going to be like the pinnacle of your like athletics, like you're going to be probably
Yeah.
doing some of the hardest shit you have ever done. Like I think back to that one workout that was like the wall walks and the double unders. Like those are
Rough.
two very unassuming movements, but like that workout, like the gym I
Brutal.
work at in North Carolina, I helped out on the Friday night lights for that one because they were like, we just need a lot of judges and whatever. And like that workout, I felt like destroyed so many people. And it's just one like but like and it's just it's going to be some of the hardest shit that you've done. And like yeah, like just laws of adaptation, like you need like for as for as much as you've like emptied that tank, you need just about the same as much time, probably double the amount of time to refill the tank. And so like that one, like you and I've talked about this, outside of our conversations here and all the time about how people who will repeat open workouts, like and
Yeah.
multiple, like I don't, do you remember the year the open broke and like that you couldn't submit videos or whatever? Like they had some
Oh, yeah, I remember.
conditions. So people were literally redoing workouts up until the Wednesday before because like the submission thing was broken. They're just like, yeah, like there's nothing we can do. So people were just continuing to redo the workouts like day after day after day after day. And it was a particularly rough one.
Hmm.
I think double unders were involved in some form
I
or
think it
fashion.
was 18, maybe.
Might been, yeah.
I think
But I just
18.
remember like people literally, it's like you had people doing the workouts on like a Friday, then they came in on a Sunday and did it again. Then they were doing it on like a Monday, then they did it like on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And then like the next workout came around and like there were, I remember, I can't remember who did it, but somebody did like an analysis of like the average scores or whatever. And like the following open workout, like the average scores were way down. like comparatively or something like that, based on what like everybody thought they should be doing.
Uh,
And the only like, I mean, for me, it just seemed pretty straightforward. The causation was like, y'all did way too freaking much leading up to it.
mm.
But, other people were just like, no, man, it's open season. You know how it is. I'm like, I do, but like also, I don't,
But so, man, that brings up such a good point. So here's the thing. I want to talk about Gem Pop first, right? And then let's talk about the people who have like a legit shot to try and make the next round.
yeah,
Because those are two very different people. They are not the same animal, right? So Gen Pop, if you're doing the open, right? And you're not really what I would consider a conditioned athlete. And I've news for you, going to CrossFit 5 times a week and doing a 1 hour class 5 times a week for a year does not suddenly turn you into Batman and turn you into a conditioned athlete, right? Because if it did,
sure.
at, at the end of everybody's first year, you would have tons of people from your affiliate going to the games and everybody would be Rich Froning
Hmm.
or Matt Frazier or Tia Claire Toomey, right? But they're not. They're doing 1 hour of work a day, and then which is great for your health. It's going to provide some serious benefits in terms of like physique and everything else, especially if you're unconditioned, but it doesn't make you an athlete, right? So when the open comes around, you are not conditioned to suddenly start doing the open workout 3 days in a row to try and improve your score and then turn around and hit class 5 days and do the open workouts 3 days in a row again, right? I've seen people do the open workout twice in one day with just a
Yes.
couple hours rest in between because they're like, oh, I could have done better here and I could have done better here and I could have done better here.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're a high level competitor, you can probably pull that off. But if you're a high level competitor, the other thing that they know is the recovery process during that downtime
Yeah.
to be able to have a shot at it,
Right.
right? They're like foam rolling and they're hydrating and they're eating the right amount of nutrition to replenish their body and they're moving a little bit so that they don't start to get stiff. They're all of those different things that they have learned to
Hmm.
be as effective as possible in a day that has multiple workouts,
Agreed. Agreed.
right? So if you're a high level CrossFit athlete, you know that if you make it to a qualifier, you've got to do like 3 or 4 workouts in a day over the course of a weekend. So you've worked on how do I recover in between? How do I fuel in between? How do I, ensure that like I'm ready for the next thing? Where's my tank going to be at in terms of how much is available energy wise? Am I going to be operating at 70% or am I going to operate at 80% or am I at 60%? Like where am I at? And the strategy that goes into each workout is very different. If you're doing the open and you want to do well in the open and you're just a Gen Pop person,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
stop trying to go 100% through every workout during the week
100%. But that's also
because
to not like adjust appropriately based on like the individuals that they have there. But that's a whole other debate for a whole other day because we're just talking about the
right,
workouts.
right, like scaled is okay. And scaled sometimes is not just weight, right? And not just movement, but sometimes it's the volume as well. You're like, oh, this is like 100, it's a chipper with 100 of this movement, 80 of this movement, 70, on down the line, 60, 40, 20. But I'm going to do like lower volume on this because I'm feeling pretty beat up and I'm just going to kind of move at like a more chill pace just to get the movement in,
Yeah.
right? And then the nutrition piece too.
Yes. That I think for me in particular, dealing with my times as a CrossFit coach and stuff like that, I think the nutrition thing is the thing that always baffled me. Is like I understand from like a weightlifting standpoint, like you got to cut and all that stuff. Like
Mhm.
there's no cutting, there is no body weight and stuff like that, like requirements in CrossFit. So like
Mhm.
people who don't like I said, we talked again about like the intensity. We talked about like the high percentage of work that you're doing and probably some of the hardest stuff that you've done. You've got to like refuel after that. So like yeah. go out afterwards and get yourself a big meal after that workout is over. And then just make sure you are eating like through the week, even a little bit more. One of the things I really appreciate, his name is Steve Pinkerton. He owns CrossFit Vitality. He's one of the OGs and stuff like
Oh
that.
yeah.
His actual his facility was the very first open WOD announcement, and I was there for it back in like 2013. One of his things that he did at his gym that I greatly appreciated is he was constantly pushing carbohydrates on people during the open, saying flat out like, you need to up your carbohydrate intake. And he's like, and you know, like he was one of those guys where it's just like he had IBS, so like he was very, you know, particular about like what he could eat and stuff like that. But he was just like, you know, like he would just be sitting there eating sweet potatoes like while he's coaching and such like that. Like
Yeah.
I appreciate the coaches that are understanding that are not only that like are understanding, but they get basic human anatomy in terms of like glycogen restoration and all that sort of stuff in terms of between workouts and your recovery and the impact and stuff. And so, like I said, like, and his wife was I believe, a nutritionist as well. And so, like, they were just super good about like telling people what they should be doing from a nutritional standpoint during in between the open workouts. Because, like I said, it is hard stuff, and people are, and it's human nature. You're not going to be able to get people to rest like you want them to. So, if they're going to continue to come in and work out and push themselves during the week between those open workouts, you might as well make sure that they're fueling properly so that they're
Yeah.
at least getting some of their recovery otherwise. And so, like, the nutrition thing I think is a huge, often underlooked aspect when it comes to that recovery process of, you know, between each work of or each workout, you know, during the open. But in years recently, they've cut that down. Don't they only do three now because they have
Yeah, they only do three now, which is a real bummer.
quarterfinals and, you know, they have quarterfinals, semifinals,
Right.
whereas before it was just the open
Regionals,
regionals
the
and then
games. Yeah. So yeah, they've cut it down, but I mean that's more people doing more workouts through a longer stretch of time, right? And so with that, the nutrition piece, people, I think a lot of people go into the gym and it's like, and I talk about this with people. I'm like, look, you need to be taking in at least a gram of protein per pound of body weight,
yeah.
right? If you're looking to support muscle growth and everything else. But that flips a little bit when you're competing in CrossFit because that carbohydrate intake, and I think this is one of those things that runners really understand, right? Because runners are very like, I got a carb load before I go and do this like 5K or this 10K or a marathon or what have you. Like they understand that that's where their body's going to draw the fuel
Right.
from. Whereas in CrossFit, like they don't really think about that. It's not really a conversation,
It's
but
not.
it needs to be, right? And I used to talk about it in my affiliate. It was like, hey, guys, whether it's who is it, Carbolin? Remember Carbolin? So it's that
Oh,
carbohydrate
yeah,
drink.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, right. We used to talk about it. We're like, hey, simple carbs, right? Like the night before, and then in the morning before
Yep.
you get there, 2 hours ahead of
Yep.
time, hour ahead of time. Like,
Frog Fuel's the one now. It's like little gel packs.
yeah, frog fuel. Like, there's tons of that. Like, none. But I'd like to keep it as simple as humanly possible. Like, I'm gonna give a shout out to like Dave Lipson for this one. He was like, dude, the best pre-workout that he's ever found is just a Rice Krispie treat.
Yep. Dan McKim. Dan McKim was dextrose and honey and water.
Yeah, that's a good one too, right? Stuff that you're gonna easily digest. Rice Krispie treats are great because it's just like melted marshmallow and rice.
The last time we worked out, you came walking in like with your one hanging out your goddamn mouth, and
I did.
I was like, I mean, man practices what he preaches.
Yeah. But I'll say this, like I have replaced every other like pre-workout with that and have found, my workouts feel better because it's just that like straight like carb load for 40 minutes, 45 minutes. You can eat it before you start working out and you're going to feel great. Where I think people also get into danger is like they think they suddenly have to start taking a shit ton of pre-workout before they show up to an open workout.
Yeah.
Right? And what's that pre-workout always contain? Is it always contains 300 milligrams of caffeine. Now, I'm not knocking fucking caffeine,
No, we are
right?
both like caffeinated to the gills right now because we've been.
Right. Yeah, I've had like 3 cups of coffee this morning. Like I'm ready to go. But if you're doing something that requires you to try and maintain like a certain heart rate
Right.
for an extended period of time, whether that's 14 minutes, whether it's 7 minutes, it doesn't really matter. And you're going through something that's high intensity,
Yeah.
guys, 300 milligrams of caffeine to the dome, like 10 minutes before you hit a workout where you're trying to be maximal in your performance, not the best move.
No, I mean, you and I've talked about this. I am a huge proponent of non-stimulant pre-workouts because you're
Yes.
still going to get the beta alanine, you're still going to get the L-carnitine, you're still going to get all that stuff. It just doesn't have caffeine in it, which like is fine. Like I really don't think people understand like the negative effects of like copious amounts of caffeine. Now, I understand that I am speaking from a human being that will consume a pot and a half of coffee in a day or whatever, but I do have my limitations where like I cut myself off by, noon because I know
Hmm.
a fact like I just like I like thank God I have a Whoop that tracks a lot of things like when my heart rate variability is down, it's because I've had way too much freaking caffeine way too late in the day. So like for me, if I do need a pick me up,
Yeah.
it is that non-stim pre-workout. I'm drawing a blank on the name of the company right now that I have, but like they gave it to me during the grid season. I still have it. It's great. Sour gummy. I love sour candy. So it's great. But like I think people really like, and the other thing too is and this is something that oh, newsflash, also Highland Games folks, pay attention because literally you're on the same schedule as like a CrossFitter when it comes to the open. You just do it longer periods of time because you have Highland Games week after week after week after week. Same
Uh,
with your caffeine intake. Just the negative effects in terms of dehydration and like the effects on your muscles in terms of recovery and stuff like that. It's just not great. And like when I'm watching guys pounding like two or three monsters throughout a day
yeah.
it's just like, come on, bud. And so it's just one of those situations where just making sure, like the thing is like if you like the taste of something, I get that, but you can get non-stimulant versions of those things. And so it's just one of those situations where like at the end of the day, like long-term health-wise, it's just not okay. And the other thing too is like you take something like the Highland Games, you take something like CrossFit Open, where we're doing muscle ups, we're doing wall walks, we're doing double unders. Those are high skill events. And I know somebody out there is going to be like, Jumping rope is not high skill." Shut up. Yes, it is for some
Double
people.
unders is high skill. Come on,
It
guys.
requires an alert central nervous system. And if you
Mhm.
are like over caffeinating yourself or just drinking too much caffeine, period, it's just one of those situations where like you're not going to be able to focus and you're not going to be able to perform optimally because you're going to be like jittery the entire
Jittery. Yeah.
like you need in certain aspects, you need to be able to get that heart rate down to be able to perform. Like any of these open workouts that are like AMRAPs, right? If you're sitting there pounding like a 300 milligram scoop of pre-workout before an AMRAP of 20 minutes, the chances of you blowing past your red line before that 20 minutes
Yes.
up is significantly increased. And this isn't just like two bros talking about it. It's like there is anecdotal evidence that
Yeah.
supports like your heart rate versus your red line. Literally, your red line is all about monitoring your heart rate in terms of making sure you don't blow up too soon. So, like, if you're like over caffeinating yourself going into an event like this, or like in the Highland Games, for instance, like if you start out with an event that's a little bit more like crazy, like let's say the caber toss or, weights for distance or something like that, and you're redlining at 10 o'clock in the morning, like you are going to be at, like the minute you redline, like you are done. Like it just the body takes a certain amount of time to recover from that. Now, obviously, the more cardiovascular fit you are, the easier it is for you to, regulate yourself after you've hit that red line. But newsflash, again, for my Highland Games folks, y'all ain't in cardiovascular shape. I see you guys huffing and puffing after taking 4 or 5 steps with a caber. And like, if that hurts your feelings, like, I'm sorry, but you guys don't do enough cardio to say, like, I'm in great shape and I'm going to drop back down after your red line. No, like, once you hit that point, you probably have blown up and you are worthless the rest of the day. And you're going to be operating at here. So to go on to John's point, and this is what I tell my CrossFit peeps as well, when I had like an active CrossFit group in terms of talking about the open workouts and stuff like that, treat your energy systems like a dimmer switch, not a light switch.
Yes.
Weightlifters, you are a light switch.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have a choice. Like you, when I need you to be on, you need to be on, and you need to be 100%. But CrossFit in
Mhm.
particular, Highland Games, even some of my strongman peeps that are like they when they're doing like those long day competitions, your energy needs to be a dimmer switch where you are slowly going back and forth. And that's the thing I think having like experienced coaches like yourself, and that's something I've learned from you. I was actually just talking to another one of my friends, Jen Cook, last night about it, just in terms of like understanding the cardiovascular demands of your body and how your body responds to things. Like right now, I'm doing a lot of interval stuff. And so I
Mhm.
was just asking her about like what is like the expected time of dropping down from like a zone 3 to a zone 2 in terms of cardio, because I'm learning about the different zones now in terms of my heart rate and all that.
Right. Yeah.
And like, but having coaches like you that know what they're talking about, saying like, okay, like, hey, like I'm gonna pace you through this. Like I need you to follow, the directions. And like this is at this point you're here, at this point you're here. Like that's what I'm talking about that dimmer switch. Because as soon as you hear the 3, 2, 1 go, if you just come out like shooting off like a cannon, but you've got a 25-minute piece you're supposed to be completing. I don't think the Open's ever done 25 minutes. I know they've done a couple 20.
No. Yeah, 20 minutes for sure.
But it's just like if you come shooting out the gate of a 20-minute piece or whatever, like you're gonna blow up, and then you're gonna be standing there all frustrated because you're standing around for 5 minutes towards the end there trying to get your body to just to produce one more rep, but you've already depleted everything that you've done. And throw on top of that, if you're not sleeping well, you're not hydrating, and you're not
Um,
fueling, like it's gonna take you even longer to get back down to a level that you can start to function again once you have blown up.
yeah, and I think you just touched on something that I think also ties into the caffeine thing, right? Is that like if you're amping up on caffeine for competition and you're not used to doing that, your sleep is going to be so fucked.
Yeah,
Like your sleep is going to be so skewed and so gnarly. Like you're not going to hit deep REM sleep appropriately. You're not going to be able to sleep in the normal amount of hours. You're going to have weird dreams that throw you off all night. Like, and I think it's interesting because I think people seem to exist kind of in extremes when the open rolls around. And it's like, okay, well, I've been training. I'm ready to do the open. This is going to be great. I'm going to go super hard and I'm going to hit it hard. And you know what might be great for me is I'm going to try some pre-workout for the first time. Buddy, I want everybody to hear me on this one. If you are like a cup of coffee a day kind of person, maybe two, and then all of a sudden, right before an open workout, you take 300 milligrams of caffeine to the dome to be able to do well and to perform well. By the time you get to that start line, your heart rate is going to be so irregular
yeah,
and so like ramped up that the minute that they say go, even if you wanted to try and pace yourself, you're going to just go ham. You're going to go absolutely bananas. And your heart rate, like Tom said, right? Like you said, man, you're going to end up redlining so fast. You're
yes,
going to redline when you're standing there waiting to touch the dumbbell or the
yeah,
barbell or whatever it is, right? The best performer, and actually, it's funny because last night, at the gym that I coach at, I coached a 5 p.m. CrossFit class, and it was open workout 17.1, which is um, was it 10 alternating dumbbell snatches, 15 burpee box jump overs,
yeah,
20, 15, 30, 15, 40, 15, 50, 15 with a
yeah,
20-minute cap. And I was tracking scores all day leading up to the class that I was going to coach. And I'm watching like cap after cap after
yes,
cap after cap. And when I was coaching the class, a lot of what we talked about was efficiency of movement to conserve energy,
yeah,
right? And then proper pacing, understanding like the volume that you're getting ready to take on. Because if you pace properly and you move efficiently, your drop off over the span of time during that workout, despite the volume increasing, is going to be significantly less than somebody who's like just kind of flinging the dumbbell around, not really doing an efficient burpee, taking extra steps. What are you doing?
I'm I'm
Tom,
almost
I look over, Tom's taking, if you're listening to this, Tom literally just took a selfie of himself. I could send it somewhere. I don't
Sure
know.
did.
I don't know where, buddy. But anyway, so we went through that, and everybody in my class finished that workout. Nobody got capped,
Yeah.
right? Because everybody was just like, and some people started to take like a little bit longer breaks, but the people who were just consistent movers and
Mhm.
conserving energy by moving well, they all did really well.
Right.
Like really, really well. But I watched the class before and I watched a guy get capped who like was way out in front and his dumbbells way out here. And sometimes he didn't hit full lockout with his dumbbell. And he came out of the gate super fast and super hot. And all of that leads to like poor performance. And here's the dangerous thing about poor movement patterns that come out in like open workouts and what happens in between after that workout is done. The fatigue and strain on your muscles and on your body and on your CNS are significantly higher because your movement patterns have been so bad, right? And
And
had to compensate so much for that, like you've drained twice as much energy.
And real quick, I want to go back just one more thing on the caffeine stuff.
Yeah.
Talking about like sleep patterns and stuff. And one of the conversations I'm starting to have with athletes is them talking about, well, I'll take a bunch of stuff to make sure I fall asleep. If you are having to drug yourself to get yourself into that deep sleep because you're
Yeah.
over caffeinated or overstimulated, whatever the reason is, you are throwing off your circadian rhythm so bad that your body's not going to know how to regulate that stuff on your own. So
Dude, it's so true.
like everyone, like don't get me wrong, every once in a while I've got to take something to fall asleep. Like it's just I'm
Sure.
wired. I need to get some rest. I every once in a while is okay, but just like with like everything else, like when you repeatedly do something that is not your body's natural process, eventually it's going to forget how to do it on its own. So like please don't use that as a resort, or don't resort to that as a last, option. But yeah, no, I agree 100%, like too, with movement quality and stuff like that. That goes back to the being like amped up and overstimulated type thing. Like you could be burning through reps and not having good movement quality because you were just so geeked out. And
Yeah.
it just you start, like, then that fatigue starts to set in, like the stimulant starts to wear off or whatever it is, and then it's just going to continue to lower your movement economy. It just makes things way, way worse. And it's just one of those
Yeah.
situations where, yeah.
And the last thing I want to say, I think, to the Gen Pop community about this, and it's like, don't look at the best person, like the fittest person in your gym,
Yeah.
and try to emulate like that person's ability and what they're doing, right? If that person is taking on every single workout in the open RX and like crushing it, that person is literally an RX athlete. And I think that, and I've had this conversation with a few people. There is a difference between knowing how to do a movement and being an RX athlete, right?
Yeah.
Because you can do a muscle up. Great. But that doesn't mean you should RX an open workout with muscle ups in
Well, and that, yeah, that's my thing. It's like if you've been doing like scaled version
it.
all this entire time leading up to the open, don't expect to like all of a sudden be RX day of. Like it's just
Well, or even here's the
it's
one that
not
I
gonna
see.
happen.
Yeah, here's the one that I see that gets me is like somebody suddenly learns to do a muscle up, and all of a sudden every workout with muscle ups in it, they're going RX, and the stimulus is, let's say you're supposed to get 6 to 7 rounds, and they get two
Mhm.
because they're like, well, I'm going to do it RX because I can do muscle ups. Well, you got 2 rounds, and the stimulus called for 6 to 7. You missed the point. Like, go work on that high skill during downtime and build to the point where you can do those muscle ups consistently on a regular basis and then tackle it at RX. So when you go into the open, and I'm thinking of a couple people that I have come across in my life specifically who I've seen do this. When you go into the open and the open says, "Hey, you're doing 50-pound alternating dumbbell snatches," right? Or maybe it was even more like recently. I feel like there was an 80-pound dumbbell at a competition that I saw, and I watched a guy try and do the 80-pound dumbbell, and it just demolished him
Yeah.
because he wasn't strong enough to do it. But his ego was like, I'm going to do RX because I'm RX. Guys, guess what? I have very like real, and this may bum you out if you hear this, and if you feel like it hits home and it stings a little bit, then okay. But the odds that you're gonna suddenly show up and do the open RX all the way through and go to the next level, probably not happening.
Right.
That's a select, like several hundred people in the world that get to do that. Like if you're in your gym, if when you do RX workouts in the gym, it's few and far between.
Yeah.
And then when you do them, you're like far down the like leaderboard. You're not an RX athlete.
Yeah. Right.
So like develop appropriately. If that's a goal, then great, make it a goal. If you're just like, I just want to do it just to do it and have fun, okay. But then understand at least like what's going to happen to your body,
Right.
right? Like just understand like you're going to break.
Yeah. So to kind of wrap this up, not that just this portion here, in
Yeah.
terms of nice little neat bow here, like what are we telling folks here? Like in that competition setting where
Yeah.
it's a back-to-back short turnaround, whether it's like we got the open where it's a week, or like we got something like Highland Games
Yeah.
week to every 2 weeks. Like what are we telling? What are like your three big things that we want those folks to be doing?
So one, right, scale back during the week in between the events.
Treat it like
Number
a
one,
float.
right? Number one, like don't try and go 100% all week long. Don't even try and go 80% all week long, and maybe even like only do a couple days, right? Give yourself the time physically to recover. Number two, fuel appropriately, right?
Yes.
So eat the right amounts in the right macro count. Understand that like you need to get in some more carbs to be able to burn through them. It's okay, but also make sure they're the right kind of carbs. Don't just go out and be like, they said eat cake, so I'm eating cake.
Just
Um,
when
Cake
I
is
go
great.
when I go to the store, there's like we call it the discount baked goods,
Yeah.
or the Almond and Misfit baked goods, and it's always the stuff that they're trying to get rid of or whatever. I will raid the shit out of that, like a 300.
Yeah. Dude, when we were in Vegas, how many desserts did I bring back to the house?
That is true. We had a lot of dessert. There was more dessert than meat in that house. That was fun.
Yeah. And then the last thing, right, is like don't suddenly play Dexter's Laboratory with your body and like caffeine or pre-workout or any of those things, right? Like don't do that to yourself. It's not going to end well. And it's going to mess up your sleep schedule. And your sleep schedule is critical for your recovery as well, because you need to make sure you're getting enough sleep. And if you're suddenly dosing 300 milligrams of caffeine or you're pounding monsters all day long, like that's a pretty good indicator you're about to like crash.
Yeah, good. And then like no, I like that a lot. And I think that's something that we needed to discuss and stuff. Now, obviously, when we're talking about like we'll spend not as much time about this because we've already talked about a little bit with weightlifters and stuff. When we're
Yeah.
talking about other sports where you've got like maybe like a few weeks, even for like CrossFit and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like when you're going from like competition to competition and you've got like a month or a couple months or whatever, like CrossFit in particular is the one that always baffles me. Like I never understand people who are in the gym the next day.
Yeah, no.
Weightlifting, I can kind of understand based on like when you lifted, like how your performance level. Like if you only went like 2 for 6 in your performances, like you didn't really do a ton of extra work. So like I get if you're still feeling like you can do some things and you get back in the gym like a few days later and stuff like that. But like CrossFit comps in particular, like that is a ton of volume in a short amount of time, and
Yes.
especially going from like a one like you were talking about like a 1 hour a week class to 4, 5, 6 hours of like 4 to 5
Yeah.
workouts or something like that. Like that is a crap ton of volume that you've loaded onto your body. Like I like if I'm coaching somebody in that sense, or regular gym goers, like I don't want to see you in the gym till Tuesday or Wednesday. Like if the competition was a Saturday, I don't want to see you in the gym till Tuesday at the earliest. Wednesday would be my preferred day. Like if you
Yeah.
came in for that,
100%, dude.
unless you're coming in to just roll out or to like hop on a bike and just
I was
bike
just gonna say, or get on a bike or a rower
something
for
like
like
that,
20 minutes.
that's one thing. But like if I see you in there doing metcons or I see a barbell in your hands, like I'm gonna run up and double drag and jump kick you square in the chest and be like, now you have something else to recover from. It's just one of those situations where like just don't do it. Like it just goes back to like the filling of cups, right? Like you can only fill your cup up so much, and then when you get rid of that cup, it's going to take that same amount of time to fill it, like to regain what you have.
Yeah,
And like it's just the same thing with volume. And I don't think people pay enough attention to that, in terms of their overall output. It's just like how much volume did they put out? How much above what they normally put out did they, exert themselves? And like how are we going to work to allow ourselves to, replenish those stores, both from like a nutritional standpoint, but also from like a mental and a physical standpoint.
yeah. And I think too, you just hit on something that I think is important when it comes to volume is like in the like lead up to your competition
Oh,
for
yeah, yeah.
CrossFit or High Rocks even for that matter, right? Because
Oh
High
my
Rocks
God, yeah.
become a thing. Like and their recovery too. We didn't even touch that, but like in the lead up, I've seen more people suddenly be like, "Oh, I got to do two workouts today because I got a competition coming up in like 5 days." You're like, so suddenly you're going to start doing two a days? Like you didn't do two a days leading up to this, but now you're gonna suddenly in the last like 10 days start doing two a days to help your performance. Like that's not how that works, gang. Like you're not doing two a days. We
No.
don't, and this is where I think weightlifting has a lot that it can teach. And I think what helped make Matt Frazier so good at CrossFit,
Mhm.
because Matt came from the junior weightlifting community,
Very good
right?
unit.
And they understand very clearly and very well peak and taper,
Yes.
right? And he even said it like just to go back to I don't know, a few years. I don't remember what open it was, but he Matt Frazier won the open, and his understanding of like peaking and tapering was so strong that when he found out he won the open, he was angry that he won the
I
open.
remember this. Yep.
Remember this? Because he was like, I'm not supposed to win the open. I'm not supposed to be peaking now.
Yeah.
Right. And the weightlifting community and knowing how to coach for learning how to coach for weightlifting meets and the
Mhm.
importance of, okay, well, we're gonna build up to here. And then that last week we're gonna taper off and, lower down our volume and get you ready so that you are peaked, recovered, ready to rock and roll and feeling confident stepping into a meet. Like that just people in other communities like High Rocks and
And that's
CrossFit don't
and it's
follow
it's
that.
funny because I just had a USAW course where we talked about the super compensation model. And I can't remember the podcast he was on, but Matt Frazier was the first CrossFitter I heard talking about super compensation. Now, Rudy Nielsen back in the days with Outlaw, he knew of it. He had his guys ready for it and stuff like, or he used it. But like Matt was one of like the top guys that I heard openly talking about super compensation in terms of timing it and stuff like that. And we were talking about it because they flat out said, they're like, is this like foolproof? And I'm like, absolutely not. Like
Right. Yeah.
for instance, when I'm working with weightlifters or like even my power lifters, strongman guys and stuff like that, they're like I like pretty much yeah, my rule of thumb is it's going to take me about three comp preps to dial in a proper peak and taper because if you've got people that are just feeling flat the day of the competition, you need to move things up a little bit in terms of like when we start pulling back and stuff.
Right.
If like the week like this happened with Erica Treadway one year at nationals, like she had a great nationals, placed second overall at the seniors and stuff like that. And then like 4 days later, she's out there, she's in the gym like PRing her hip clean. And I'm just
Hmm.
like, well, screwed that up. Like, so, I needed to start, I could have pushed her a
Right.
little bit longer. Like I pulled back too soon. And it's just
Sure.
that whole sort of thing. And yeah, I remember when Matt was like, he was pissed. He was like, I remember like, he was just like, I am so upset. Like, I am not supposed to be in this position right now. Little did we know that that was the year that he absolutely, like, he was just that much better than everybody else. Because
Yeah.
I also believe that's the same year in the games where he had the competition won. Like he did not
Yeah.
have to
Before
do,
Sunday even rolled around.
didn't have to do the last day of the event because he was like so far ahead of everybody points wise and stuff. So it's like that was an indicator for him that like, okay, you're on
Right.
another one, right? Or you're on a whole other level right now. But yeah, no, it's just like dialing that stuff in and making sure that you're, leading up to it. And like you made the reference when we were talking about like the short turnaround about Dexter's Laboratory. I think the same thing needs to go for this. Like you just don't change what you're doing, especially right before a competition. My rule of thumb for
Yeah.
all of my athletes in the 2 week period, I just had a competition, a conversation with one of my athletes about a competition. He's got a record breakers next weekend. And
Mm.
like we're about 2 weeks out and we were planning out his max attempts for the axle press and the deadlift and his yoke and stuff. And I just told him, I was like, look, dude, I was like, between now and then, there is not a ton you're going to do to get yourself stronger, more fit, more whatever. I was like, but
Yeah.
there is a ton that you can do to ruin what you do have.
Yes.
Make yourself a ton weaker. You can make yourself a ton more sore. You can get yourself fucking hurt in these next 2 weeks. Or
100%.
just like if you need to take a day off, take the day
Yeah.
off. You literally just texted me while we were in between, episodes here, talking. He's like, hey, like I'm kind of feeling a little worse for the wear. This is what I'm thinking. I'm like, yes, like don't train today. And if you're feeling good tomorrow, like get this day, like do your max axle day on this day, do your max your last heavy deadlift and your last yoke on this day. And then I want like nothing but just like bodybuilding accessory work the rest of the time because he's got to travel to the event and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the same thing with my weightlifters. Like I tell them flat out, they're like, oh, I'm just not feeling it. All right, don't lift. Or
Yeah.
just do 80% and move on. Same thing with like I've only had one real experience where I've worked with like competitive CrossFitters. And it was when I was coaching at CrossFit Weddington in North Carolina. They had a competitive like regional team. And it was the year I believe they did the max hang snatch
Okay.
regionals or whatever. And I just remember it was like 2 weeks out. I was the weightlifting coach at the gym. They were all coming to my class. We were working on their hang snatches and stuff. And it was just one of those situations where they were just like, they're missing everything. And I'm like, guys, stop. Like, we're done for the
Yeah.
day.
Just be done.
Like we'll do some pulls. We'll do some like positional stuff. You want to do some snatch balances? That's great, but we're done snatching. And they're like, well, the events like regionals is in like 2 weeks. I'm like, that's great.
We're good.
You're reinforcing bad habits right now. And
Yeah.
if you continue to do this, like it is not going to go well. And like, thankfully, like
God.
the
Yeah.
owner of the gym listened, or he was good about that stuff too. And he was, he told them all to dial it back and pull it back and stuff like that. And they had a pretty good event. But like, it's just, I understand the mentality. Like, it's hard when
Yes.
things don't feel like they should be clicking and you're trying to push and like it's like quicksand. But the more you start fighting what your body is trying to tell you, the more you start fighting like how you're feeling and all that, like the
Yeah.
deeper you're gonna fall into that quicksand. And it's just something that people need to keep in mind as we're going through here.
Yeah. 100%, man. And like you said it, it's when people start going sideways on workouts and they're close to a competition, like that mentality can start to creep in of like, oh, I gotta go harder, I gotta do more because I'm not feeling great. I just gotta, and it's like, no, you don't. Like
Yeah.
that's probably your body's way of telling you, hey, the check engine light just came on, right? So we need to kind of back off a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, man. So anything else?
I mean, it's just one of those things like the big thing I mean, like, just wanted to wrap, like, not necessarily like wrap this up in a neat package, but the big thing we always want to reiterate with folks is getting ready for competitions is, I think, for the longer duration competitions. Like we talked about the short with the opens and like
Yeah.
Island game season with this stuff, what we're talking about and things like that. It's just one of those ordeals where it's just like, you want to make sure your 2 weeks that you're not making drastic changes and doing shit that you've never done. You were talking about like double sessions. I'm talking about like adding
Yeah.
new exercises or new stimulus or whatever, like playing Dexter's Laboratory with your body and trying new pre-workouts and
Yeah.
like, eating routines and stuff like that. Like try to keep things, especially those 2 weeks leading up to the competition, the same. And then after the competition, take into account the amount of volume that you have accumulated during the competition setting in relation to your lead up to, especially if
Yeah.
you're taking
That's
a
a great
couple
point.
of extra sessions and stuff like that off because your body was feeling worse for the wear. You have to account for that extra volume and tonnage that you're incorporating the day of the competition, and then your body needs time to recover after that. So like what would be like for that situation? Like what would be your rule of thumb? Mine is 3 to 4 days. But like everybody's a little bit different based on their experiences.
So mine, I'm gonna take it from the context of like, hey, they did a CrossFit competition that had 5 workouts,
Yeah.
right? Knowing that they're going to push to maximal effort in all 5 workouts because that's what they have to do. I don't want you back in the gym doing anything other than like kind of recovery stuff on bikes and easy moving a day for every workout that you push to max. So if you did a competition and you had 5 max workouts, Sunday's going to be a rest day. So there's one,
Yeah.
right? The next 4 days that you show up to the gym, because let's just be really honest about it. You're not going to keep somebody out of the gym, right? Like that. The gym is their life. We all know it. We all feel it. We all live through it. But the next 4 days that you show up to the gym, like the first day that you're in the gym should just be easy movement,
Yeah. I
right?
agree.
The second day that you're in the gym, you can maybe start touching some stuff, but I don't want you going over 50% of anything,
Yeah.
right? And we're going to ramp back up. So at the end of the 5 days, because of the 5 workouts, we should be back to being able to be like, okay, well, now I'm at 80%
Right.
and I can train at 80% pretty consistently because I've given myself enough time to recover.
I like that a lot. I like that a lot. And then now, in terms, last thing I think, just real quick here, post nutrition or post
Yep.
comp nutrition. Like, what is your, like I am a big proponent.
Trash panda.
Yeah, pretty much. All right,
Yeah.
cool. On the same page there. Yeah. It's just one of those situations where I feel like you got to get your body back on track, and it's okay for a couple days. Like,
Yes. For fuck's sake,
I'm
guys.
not I'm not saying eat cake every day after the week after a competition.
Cake every day. Got
Every day.
it. Cake
But
every
yeah.
day.
All right. So that is our chat in terms of hopefully that helps some folks out, especially when we start getting ready for the competition stuff.
Yeah.
What you do the 2 weeks leading up to the competition, what you do in between competitions is just as important as everything else that we're doing, like all the medals, all the accolades, all that stuff just does not matter if you're not doing the things you need to be doing in the spaces in between, especially on shorter turns around tournament.
Yeah.
And like, keep in mind, we're talking about shorter turnaround. We're talking about the Open or Highland Games where it's a week to 2 weeks, a little bit longer turnarounds. We're talking about like a month, 6 weeks, something along those lines. Those are
Yeah.
we're not talking about like if you've got like a full 12 weeks to lead up to an event or something along those lines. Because like sports like strongman, so CrossFit in particular, like there's usually
Yeah.
short turnarounds between events. We need to make sure that you guys are prepared for that. So.
Yep.
That being said, we'll leave everybody alone so they don't have to hear our voices anymore. Please make sure you go to www.thestrengthagenda.com, check out the app, get yourself on a 7-day free trial there, play around with all the cool features. We got a macro calculator, we've got the rep max calculator, we've got about like 8 different programs on there right now for the everyday training package that we have, and we're continuing to add programs each and every month. We also have our remote training options. We've got our Highland Games training manual. We also have our apparel shop with new items that John
Yep.
is designing and putting up there on a, every quarter basis. We'll bring back some of the old stuff, but we're also trying to rotate in some new stuff here as well. So we appreciate all your guys' support from the Strength Agenda. My name is Tom.
I'm John.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate you.
Bye, guys.